Wherever. Put it right in front of Eric. We're good. You ready, Eric? All right, we're going to call this meeting to order. General operations on June 2nd, 6:30 p.m. Commissioner Klein, would you mind praying?
I don't mind at all. Heavenly Father, thank you for a glorious day today. Thank you for all the great weather you're giving us. We ask you to help us tonight make good decisions, have thoughtful debate, and come up with the best solution according to your will. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Before we approve the agenda, we have two ladies here for the storybook trail. I would like to move item 10C under new business up above on old business. So that's changed with approval agenda. We have a motion by Commissioner Miller, second by Commissioner Holmes. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? All right. So move that up.
You said right in front of A?
Yep, of old business. Discuss it there. All right. Approval in minutes. Do I have a motion? Motion by Commissioner Moss, second by Commissioner Jones. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Recognition of the public. Got anybody here?
No.
Anyone? Bueller?
Can't believe it.
What?
All right. Report of the chairman, I have no report. Report of the finance director, Mr. Scott Shamrock. Delight our ears.
For the archive roof, we're just waiting on the manufacturer to schedule their inspection. Westmoreland EMS, they've been working on the grading and the site utility installation, and then they're still working on the value engineering for the fire pump and all the things that go with that.
How bad's the rock on that site? Yes.
I think it's too bad.
Okay.
It's not as bad.
Are we
as
allowed to ask
citizens
questions?
or- Yeah, too bad.
Scott, you want to interrupt you or say the questions?
Go ahead. Ask away.
How about we wait to the end?
Okay.
Okay.
I think it might go faster.
Oak Grove Fire Department, they're waiting on the rock removal approval, and they're gonna start to pour the forms, or form and pour the aprons and stoops. And Marshall and them are working on getting septic quotes for both the EMS station out there, because there was an issue with that at the beginning of the project, where the field lines were located where the station was being located. So they had to reroute them, and now they're working on a solution for that since they had to reroute. From my knowledge, talking with Chris on the Brown House, his exploration stuff is completed. So we're just waiting on results of that and then how to move forward. Franklin Street, they're a little over halfway done. I've set up a meeting with the architect and engineer for the end of next week to start a final walkthrough. I talked with the PM today. He's thinking about the end of next week. He'll be pretty close to finishing that up. So we'll do a punch list to get that done.
Actually, they only got started 2 weeks ago, so they're doing pretty well.
He's been on this general opposite unit for at least 2 years.
Oh,
They had a pretty big hiccup when they hit the buildings right there, just because there were some pipes and things that weren't known about when they were digging. But
I think they
other
tore
than
out
that,
every sewer line there.
they're moving along pretty well. The courtroom build out, we're currently reviewing that contract from Wold, so we should have something here in the next week or two with them to start that whole process. The health department's supposed to start within the next 2 weeks. And I don't know if you guys want an invitation to all the ceremonial stuff or not, but if you do, just let me know.
Yeah, we would.
Okay, I'll send it to you guys.
That's been longer than the storm drain.
We've been working on that since literally August of
You got gold
2022.
shovels or anything like that, or
I'll get some cold ones.
spray paint gold?
Our broadband grant, we're still waiting on a memo from the state. We're supposed to have a meeting with them this week, so once we get that memo, we can move forward on that. And the hollows, they're working on, here in the next couple of weeks, finishing up the relocation, and then they'll start construction. On the back of it is the start of the swing breakdown. I know last month, I had a couple questions about that. The Oak Hill water line in Portland, 99% complete, as well as the Masons line. They'll be completed once the elevated tank is completely installed. It should be installed here in the next month or two, and then everything get tied back into it, and those projects will be done. And on Wednesday, we have our pre-con for the 4 Westmoreland jobs. And then the following page, 2 pages, is the breakdown of the Westmoreland timeline. You'll have a short breakdown of our timeline for it, as well as the breakdown of costs. And then on the back of it is the cost increase from the 1.8 million that we got. So you can see where the cost increased and where the money went to on those projects. And then on the back of it is you sent me an email earlier today about the codes associated with our architect use, and those codes are attached on the back.
Contract for professional services.
Yes, sir.
Any questions on archive repairs or Commissioner Klein?
Not the archive repair, but I can't remember. There were so many budget items on our 3 marathon days. What was the final outcome with the project moving forward? I'm sorry, the courthouse, the new courtroom, yeah.
I am under the impression that we're good to go. The mayor signed the proposal. We're good to go.
My understanding was that budget killed the $2
I
million appropriation.
thought Mark Harrison clawed it back, and it was approved to claw back, and it was for the time
The
being.
commission approved $2 million last year. The majority of the commission approved $2 million last budget in June. And we approved the architectural from Wold last month to, or a majority of us approved. Now, David, you did not vote on that one for the architect, but we've heard that budget is pulled back to $2 million for the courtroom build out itself.
So it's not in the budget for next year.
My understanding, it did not pass the budget workshops. So my assumption would be that it would not be in the June 30th budget. I'm not seeing another draft since the budget hearing, so I don't know where the drafts are on the budgets.
I think there's money for the architecture, but that's where it stops.
So you guys haven't heard that? I mean, that's what
I haven't heard that.
that was my understanding from the budget hearings.
I spoke with.
I know it's come in and out of phase,
Right.
but
I heard
the
that
last,
killed the $2 million for the courtroom appropriation.
What happens when the full commission approves something and then you're going into next fiscal year and they just, one committee takes out what the commission decided on? How does legal
if the commission's already voted on it, that's where it stands until the commission votes it away. So
What happened if it's not in the budget June 30th and the budget gets approved and it's not in there, then it's removed.
exactly. So we would be working under the fact it's approved until that happens, until the budget gets ratified with that
We
removed.
have $2 million appropriated and we have.
That's how I understand it, but I will double check that.
So do you spend money on it?
Well,
Do you take steps towards it, knowing that it's gonna be built?
I can only do what the last vote was, which was the 2 million was there. So I'm gonna keep moving that direction until I get called back.
This committee that we can keep going until we.
No, there's nothing for us to do. We're done with it. Yeah, it's out of our committee's hands.
Yeah.
It's just a report.
I'm saying he's got actions to go forward with, right?
Yes.
Based on what they say.
We,
And
full
what was
commission's approved.
voted on.
That was 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
And the
He's
commission
still
was
going.
after the budget
Correct.
hold off.
I have a question about Oak Grove. So this is the 1.2 plus million pole barn that the county commission approved for a water tanker at Oak Grove. And now you're saying, we're gonna spend money on a septic system and sewer lines that we weren't anticipating? Is that what?
Just moving the field lines is my understanding, but I'll get with Marshall and get you a better answer on
No idea
what
what this
exact
will
cost. I don't have a cost yet.
How far are they moving it?
Wouldn't think far. It's not a huge plot of land.
They can't plumb to it? Because if we can't, it'd be very obvious, and that should have been included in the cost that we already approved.
Right. I'll reach out.
So
to
should
All
the storm drain-
crap flows downhill, right? I mean, as long as we're uphill from it, if it's obvious that it's not, that should have been in the cost of the building.
Any other questions on this list? Thank you for, let us know about that health department remodel, since we've been extensively involved in that for 3 years.
They're waiting. They're trying to get the ceremonial stuff scheduled, and they're supposed to have their abatement crew out in the middle of June to get started and start tearing down after that.
Make it a 5 o'clock ceremony.
6:30.
All right. Anything else for Scott? We'll move on. All right, thank you, Scott. Report to county mayor. He is absent, and I'm going to save responses to his list when we get to those agenda items. All right. Discussion for the Storybook Trail. I'll make a motion to suspend the rules for these ladies from the health department. Yes, the ladies from the health department. I'm sorry, I don't know your names.
My name is
Charlotte and Lily. You got all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Would you mind just stepping up over close to where Mr. Klein is for, and just state your names for the record and who you guys are with and what this ask is about.
Hello, my name is Charlotte Hollis. And I'm Lily Miller. We do work with the health department, but we're technically representatives of the Sumner County Health Committee. We're actually on a lot of committees, but part of that committee is we're trying to establish storybook trails throughout Sumner County. We've already got one in Portland that we worked with the Rotary Club there, and we also have one in Hendersonville. We worked with a private entity there to get that established. For anyone who's been out there, it was put up in place in honor of her father. So since then, we have been contacted by the Hendersonville Evening Rotary, and they would also like to establish one. They chose, I guess because it's kind of between Hendersonville and Gallatin, they would like to, if possible, put it up at the Station Camp Greenway. They will fully fund that project from beginning to end. The most that we're asking for from this committee here is the permission to put it there at Station Camp Greenway, and then to see if the county maintenance would be willing to dig holes and put cement in to hold those posts in. I'll let her explain kind of more what that looks like, or what the trail looks like itself. But that's how we've done it in both Hendersonville and in Portland, and it's been really nice. As far as maintaining it overall, that again, we'd ask that county maintenance already mow there. If they would just mow, we would be in charge of, along with other community partners and civic clubs that we are going to partner with. We actually have a committee we just formed for that to be county-wide of who will be in charge of keeping the plexiglass clean, keeping the metal posts themselves clean. That'll fall on us, and again, not the county, because we know that's probably more than they can handle.
Replacing things if they're broken or things like that.
I'm sorry.
You'd be replacing things if they're broken or
Yes.
damaged or vandalized.
Yes.
Can they even get it in by the chance?
Does anyone not know what a storybook trail is? Sometimes people do. Okay. So I'll let Ms. Lily
I
say.
didn't know what I did. Did you read out the speech? So,
Yeah, that's true.
you have a question?
I have a comment. Anything that's dealt with on this, because of the way the budget's hanging, it's gonna have to go to the next fiscal year, just to.
Well, there's no cost to the county. I guess
It's approval.
I understand that, but as far as the upkeep and installing the poles and the cement and all that other stuff, it may be inconsequential, I don't know, but just food for thought,
Any action item, we send it to budget for July.
yes.
Or is it something the mayor could possibly just say, yeah, I've got enough in my budget to handle that menial cost?
He's not here.
Is it possible? He does things like that in maintenance all the time, right?
I can't answer that question.
My point is, though, they could ask the question, if the mayor gave his permission, maybe we could avoid going to budget on something like that.
He is aware. We did meet with him and a couple other people from just FYI. So he knows about it.
Any indication on anything?
He just said he wanted to bring it to you guys first.
So for those of you that don't know what a storybook trail is, basically, it goes on like a path, like at a park or somewhere like that. And the panels are about kid height, and there's about 20 to 22 of them throughout the trail, and it goes about a half mile to more than that. And so not only does it promote reading and trying to promote like new stories to kids and things like that, but also it helps with physical activity. So that's why they're normally about a mile and a half or more than that. So
what kind of stories do you tell?
So that can vary, right? So the mayor did bring that up when we had spoken with him. So we decided that it would probably be best if you guys wanted to try to decide that amongst yourselves. In Hendersonville, we came up with a system there. In Portland, they actually let the kiddos vote on their book. They picked out 3 books that they thought would be really good and then let the kids vote on which one they want to see featured. They also have a new one that they're fixing to reveal next month, July. Yeah. And again, it's just the other book that got voted on. It only didn't win by 2 votes. So how you guys would like to do that, I know that books can be kind of a hot topic. I would like to leave that up to you guys, and y'all can kind of decide if you want some help figuring out books. We don't mind to help with that since we've done 2 other storybook trails in the past. And we actually already have a list that's been approved by the Hendersonville committee that we worked with there. They kind of like dug through all the things, but again, happy to help or, hands off if you
What
guys.
age group are you targeting?
We don't really have an age group. It's anyone from birth to 100, I guess,
Okay.
or even older. Because we get a lot of comments back, like grandkids and like to go with their grandparents to read. And in fact, we were just switching out the one in Hendersonville. We have a new book out there, and we actually got more than one comment of people walking by who are all ages. They're like, "Oh, I'm so glad that's changing. Like, I love that story, but I wanted a new one." And I'm telling you, they were at least 50-ish, I think. And there was a mom and 2 of her kids that were there. And
How often does it change?
that's something that our overarching committee will decide. Right now, it's been about a year. It's exactly a year for the one in Portland. The one in Hendersonville's been about 9 months.
Is that ideal, or would you rather do it sooner, or?
Also up for debate. We kind of debated that at our Portland committee up there. They suggested a year, having to do with childhood retention and reading skills. And if they have that repetition, they're more likely to remember and know it, and they know a word. Versus if you do it more often, children may or may not, be able to retain that. Then there was also the argument of children get bored sometimes with the same story, but then some children really love a story and they don't want to see it go. I will say Bledsoe had up the same book, not there's anything wrong with it, for about 4 years, but I did hear a lot of people kind of be like, I really wish that would change soon. It did change, anyone it's a new story, but so that's still up for debate. I think if that's something you guys wanted to discuss, because partly what we're doing with these 2 is all of these so far, so the Portland one, the Hendersonville one, there's actually getting ready to be one established by the Gallatin Rotary as well. I believe it's at Triple Creek. I'm not as familiar with that one. They kind of did their own thing there, but it'll be the same posts and panels. And so what we're trying to do is make it that we can interchange all the books out amongst the whole county. Be like on a rotating system.
So that's more of a collaborative process.
Yeah.
So the posts are placed by possibly the maintenance department, who installs the plaque and the thing the book sits on or the pages sit on, and the plexiglass or
We can do
acrylic.
that.
Y'all do all that?
We can.
Hammers and nails and stuff like that?
Portland and Hendersonville, the Parks and Rec, and Portland was somebody a little different, but they handled doing the cement, the posts, and then they just attached the panel for us, and then we maintained it after that.
She was asking us to do that. That's what her.
Well, I heard her say the posts and the concrete. I didn't know if that meant the panel and the acrylic cover for it or
So the
polycarbonate.
acrylic's already in there. It's not like attached. The only thing that's attached is on the top. There's a screw piece that unscrews.
You're asking for help just installing.
Just
That's
to
it.
install.
Pretty simple.
Yes.
Oh,
We
okay.
do everything else.
Like
It's not like building them, it's installing.
Yes.
Okay, and then the other question is, if there's, the key factor for me would be the guardrails put in place in the choice of the books. There would have to be a guarantee that the 2 or 3 different sides wouldn't fight over the content that's being put out there for the kids. And how would you guarantee any of that? It'd have to be like the most, common story that everybody would agree upon is not harmful to kids at all. Nobody would have a problem with it. How do you get there?
It's a great question. So in Hendersonville, like I said, I had to come up with a list of 10 books, and I had to present on each 10 of those books, and I had to talk about what it was about, how I got the book. All the books I picked from came from the Imagination Library. I figured those were probably really safe ones that were already mostly vetted. Of course, those get sent across the kids across the country, so they'd be familiar with them. But that doesn't have to be the route you go. Like I said, Portland just voted on it with their kiddos, and that's what they picked.
Who's the other group that you said that has done it and that did it without the kids voting?
So that was Hendersonville. So that one's a little bit different too. So originally I did that without, we thought we had funds coming in and we didn't. So a private entity came in, and the book that we featured that time, again, I had to present it, but it was a local author who won the Indy car race, or has multiple times. He lives in Hendersonville, or he did. I don't think he does now. But so we just asked, because that book was all about persevering. So He started out with his stories being a young kid, and he wanted to have the goal to win the IndyCar race, and so he just talks about what he did to get there.
So who proved that one?
That was Hendersonville Parks and Rec. So everything in Hendersonville, for us, we have to go before the board and talk to them about all the books.
So we would have to set up who is the governing entity to approve the books.
Yes.
So, question. It's just one book, right? Or you need multiple books for these. How many panels are that? What are you asking? What's the quantity?
18 to 22 panels.
It's 18 to 20, or 20 to 22, and that's just based on the number of books, the size, and the length.
So you're looking for 9 to 10 books, or 9 to 11?
No. So one book goes on one whole story or trail.
So 18 to 22 panels are one
It's
story.
one story.
So you're just looking to approve one story?
Yes, but technically no, because then we want to trade out all of those stories with all the other ones in the county that are the same. And right now there's going in 3, so you would be 4. There's a 5th tentative in the new baby farms in Hendersonville.
So I'm just talking about what you're asking this committee
For
to
this
do.
committee, yeah.
It's one book.
Yes.
So have you guys used Bethany Van Meter, whatever Tim's last name is called? Van Meter, she has a children's book about her blind dog. She's a local children's author. Have you guys got her book out there? I make that
See with
recommendation.
my heart. That's a good one.
So all the parks have the same book, or you accept different ones?
They're all different. So like right now, Portland has one about doing something impossible and realizing that it's not impossible if you ask for help. The one in Hendersonville right now is about honeybees, because it's National Honeybee Festival time. Before that, it was the Indian. The one in Gallatin, they've not yet told us or voted on what they want to do for that one. And the one that's in Hendersonville is also doing another local author that wrote about his cat.
I'm going to make a recommendation. If you guys have any questions, then I'll just tell you. I said we move this forward budget to July with a recommendation of using Bethany Van Meter's book as the subject panel. She's a local Christian children's author. Goes a lot of things, reads the library, has her dog. She goes a lot of things, safe and neutral for everybody. So that would be my recommendation.
But you're setting a precedent for going forward. So who's going to govern when it gets swapped out? What book comes next?
The full commission's got to approve it regardless of what happens, because it's got to go to budget and go to the full
Does it?
commission.
Did we just no the book?
Sure.
The implementation of this program, that's not written in there that the full commission approves each book as it
If I
comes
make a
through the
motion that
years.
says this is how it's going to go to budget,
Okay,
so that's at least how it goes to
that's
budget.
what I'm asking.
Now, whether
you.
budget does something to it, then that's, I don't know, but the recommendation goes to the full commission with that book recommendation.
We could come up with a list and come one time and talk about the 5 books that are available.
Right.
Do it that way.
Yeah, and each time it gets swapped out, the commission approves the change.
Correct, just like Henderson.
That's what I'm asking the language to be clear on.
So in
That's
Hendersonville,
your
we cleared
motion.
5 books in advance. We just haven't printed them yet.
I just wanted to be
bring this back in August, bring this back to this committee in July and have them bring back recommendations towards the budget. So it sounds good to you guys. Any questions for them? Sweet. All right, we're gonna bring this back in session. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
So to old business in.
Old business, yeah. And if you guys can bring back, just come back next month with 4 recommendations. One being the setting aside, totaling 5 is look into the Bethany Van Meter, the children's author, local children's author, her book that she has as one of the books, but then 4 other ones. I guess it would be great to, and we'll come back, we'll have it on old business for this committee next month. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time, guys. Thank
Yeah,
you.
She has Kirk Cameron books out there, that'll really get people fired up. All right, item A, Latimer Braille House Restoration. There's no action to take on this. Obviously, we've had our ad hoc 2 weeks in a row. And Mr. Coker and Mr. Klein have done a great job on presenting, gathering information. We have a pretty detailed, after our last ad hoc, budget sheet that I know Mr. Klein has some homework on. He's going out there again this week with Chris again, as well as an architect, because the question came up in our ad hoc, do we have to have an architect? Chris Coker was like, there's no reason to have an architect. It doesn't make sense on this project, and David agrees, but state law forces us, maybe. Talked to David Long today, he said, maybe, wasn't sure. So the assumption is, but he wasn't definitive and 100% yes, it has to happen. But I would like to proceed as if it should, or, because
architectural costs, it's basically two things: is if there's structural changes and cost estimate. I think is the only really requirement from an architect. And if I'm based on, I haven't read what you sent me yet, Scott, but that's David and I talked about. So obviously, if we had an architect, we're not looking for $100,000 architectural quote yet because we don't need it. It's a waste of money, and that's the problem with this project is we have limited funds. We have $582,000 left roughly out of 587, and right now we're on the budget by over $100,000, which is great. So, but the goal is to minimize that, and we don't need exorbitant architectural fees when both we have several contractors saying we don't need an architect. It's a waste of our time and money, but the state's forcing us to do it. It's another thing. So we want to find the most financially viable option of if an architect has to sign off the fact that we're going to replace the windows, go back to the original windows and put these big logs up here, that's what the architect would look at. We're going to have to put some kind of support beam where they actually just cut the logs and this might be drooping on the second floor. We need a structural support. That would be an architectural look at, and then just give us those cost estimates. And so I think that's what we're looking for. And obviously, you're going to go over the whole budget and everything, but we have to present. But I think here's an architect. We don't need some 15 architectural firm to jack the price $150,000 just because state law requires it. I understand that the architects have a very good lobbying arm at the state, which is why we have this. It's because of lobbyists, not because of what's necessary. But that's really kind of where we're at. Our goal is to come back to this committee in July with a plan that we can push forward a budget. We're trying to be as aggressive as possible in this because we've wasted 8 years. And so we are trying to be expedient in this process. Like I said, we've had 2 ad hocs in the past 2 weeks. So we've made some good progress. Just figured out under budget, saving the whole structure and going to make it as period close to as possible. So I think that's a win for everybody. So pretty excited about it. And trying to get historic societies involved with the process as we move along. We've had some good input that I think can help as well. So we're trying to get that. When I say historic societies, I'm not talking about state run, I'm talking about nonprofit groups locally and stuff like that. So to be involved with the finishing process when we get closer to this. So, but that's all we really have on that side. Without objection, we'll keep on old business. Since the goal is to come back here with some really concrete stuff. I know we have to get stuff per our policy to the finance department around the second or third or fourth week of June before we come back to this committee. So I think we said the week of the 16th was the goal of that week to get something to finance. Yeah. Just to keep you informed there, Scott. So we've been moving. We're all sailing swimmingly, other than the architectural aspects. That's the one thing's a little hiccup unnecessarily on this case. All right, keep that. Items B and C, without objection, we're going to remove these from the agenda completely. Item B is not right because I spoke with Megan from the Children All People, or the nonprofit that she represents, the Drug Prevention Coalition, as well as Judge Blanton last week. Obviously, we've done what we need to do a couple months ago past this, and saying, hey, yes, we want to enter into some kind of agreement. They've stuck in budget and stuck in this budget cycle right now. So we won't have anything throughout to June 30th. We'll be able to come back in July. Hopefully, we can put this on the agenda in July, or it might be August, but something will happen either to move forward. So we're moving that. Same thing with the National Library. Mr. Schindler has reached out to the alderman for their request. They requested this information. They have not responded to us or Mr. Schindler, so we're going to remove this until we otherwise hear back from him as well. So I'm going to strike B and C from our agenda, and we'll bring back as new business when ripe. All right, item D, motion for discussion.
Second.
Mr. Klein, second by Commissioner Moss. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Real quick, the county mayor did send, finally, this Gov Deals auction, which is an addendum on your desk. This is the requested list of all the things that was the inventory that we've been requesting since February, essentially. So we just finally got that today at 4:30 p.m. And that answers that portion of the status of the inventory. Commissioner Klein, I know that we have in here page 11
I don't think we have an answer to your questions about some of these things, but I think we've got a inventory list. So I don't know what you guys want to do with this. I mean, obviously, since we have this inventory, if we want to move this forward, we're looking on the interdepartmental listing first, just 60 days. That's our policy. And then it goes to gov deals. So this isn't necessarily gov deals list yet. This is an interdepartmental. And there's a lot of nice stuff. One nice, I don't know if we haven't seen photos. There's nice stuff on the other surplus property that's in here from planning department and trustees department. That's later on the agenda. But
Do we know who put this list together?
it says that Tammy Myers did contact name top left.
I will call him.
Yeah, there's a phone number there and her email address.
Okay.
I do not know who Tammy Myers is.
So it looks like she did one floor every 2 weeks, or every week or two. Well, I guess there's gaps in there. And that's all that's in that entire building?
Well, we don't know because I guess we're assuming so. There wasn't a lot in there to begin with, but like, is it, you're gonna take 11 citizen sent something to Mr. Klein about throwing those away.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask.
I'm
How
not
much
sure.
of that is accurate still today, or some of this stuff on that trailer in the dump?
I don't know, the county mayor's not here to answer the question, so I can't answer any of these questions for you. Until the county mayor shows up to one of these meetings to answer the questions, we cannot figure this stuff out.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go through it with Tammy Myers, possibly me at the building. I just wanna make sure that what she's getting rid of, like, not all the antique furniture in the courtroom.
You want to keep this whole business?
Please,
Can you ask her that question? If this includes things that were
yeah,
obviously thrown away, or
Yeah.
if it's excluding those things?
yeah, I will ask.
All right, so without objection, we'll keep this whole business.
Okay,
Also, as part of the discussion, what are we going to do with this building? I did see that there was a newspaper article, I guess a month or two ago, about doing something with this building, but oddly enough, nobody came and talked to this committee about it, which is tasked with that responsibility, so I just found that interesting.
yeah.
So,
2 months ago?
yeah, it was in like Channel 2 News or something, county mayor and some other people in Gallatin on the news talking about this ideas of what to do with this building.
What were their ideas?
I don't remember. So it's just, but that's the purpose of one that's being on here. Let's stop kicking cans down the road and let's start moving towards plans to utilize county space.
Sounds like somebody has plans.
Well, that's what I'm trying, but that's our goal, hey, is on here, but that's what I'm trying to figure out, what else is being discussed, or what do we do with this building? But that, the step one is getting everything cleared out and a status of inventory, so that's why we're still in this process.
Right.
Clean the crap out, get it, a clean footprint, then what can we start dreaming about, or what are options that could.
Because there's a lot of ad hoc walls that were built over time that just muck it up, and those should probably all be removed.
There's been a lot of discussion of people want, lawyers wanting to use that as space, as law offices, or been talking about the county maybe leasing it out. I know there's problems with that necessarily. Everybody's going to have a problem with everything that gets suggested. So,
Well, I mean, the purview is clear in this committee when it gets done with it. Do we need to go ask Channel 2 News what they know? Is that how we get information now?
maybe you have contact.
This is insane.
So anyway, okay, we'll keep this on old business just because until we figure out, okay, goal for the past 6 months has just been getting this cleaned out since January, February, so we can then start making plans for it. Thankfully, we got the Children of People building. We're moving along with that, so we're making some progress. All right, we're going to keep that.
So is this on the website already, our county website?
I have no idea because I just got this at 4:30 p.m. when your committee started a highway. So this is all emailed to the commission at 4:30 p.m.
So he named it Gov Deals Auction.
It's not supposed to be GovDeals auction.
No,
This is supposed to be on the surplus first.
that's why I'm asking this.
I
Need to make
can't
sure it's with the
confirm,
right
'cause I
place.
didn't find out about this till we sat down for this meeting.
Yeah, but this was emailed after you guys started meetings.
How do we find out that this isn't, if this is on Gov Deals right now, or?
Mr. Sibley, would you mind, would you follow up with the county mayor to find out, make sure this is going through the surplus first?
Proper channels, yeah. Thank you.
All right. Item E, discussion Cottontown debris cleanup. I will address you to some things on, if you look at the handouts on on your desk.
Page 14 and 13.
Well, page, yeah, page 12 through 14, you go there.
No, just 14.
Page 12, 13, and 14. It's actually page 12, 13, and 14. I also have an email right here that the county mayor had sent a response to Mr. Sittler on May the 14th, which you guys look at this, and you can have this as well as the county mayor's report. We're discussing all three. So last month, it's a pretty simple request. County mayor wasn't here, and the request was of just, if you're looking on page 14, which is this color photo of the debris that's left on, is this all on private property or partly private
No,
property?
most of this is on county properties. Some of it has
On private.
migrated over to
private,
private.
okay.
property.
So one thing that came up, okay, let's get the homeowner's permission on private property to remove county junk. So we have that on pages 12, 13. Thank you, Tim, for following up with that, and Mr. Sittler for helping me craft this. So we have that permission. So that's answers part of Mr. Isabel's email.
Well, he's been wanting to go for a long time.
So another thing, I guess, what it came down, and Mr. Moss confirmed this last month, is that this is just junk. The county owns trailers. Our maintenance department has trailers. We have trucks that our maintenance departments can drive. This really just requires a couple people going out there and putting stuff on a trailer and going to the resource authority. Am I wrong, Mr. Moss? Or, I mean, yeah. So, but unfortunately, the county mayor is saying we need like $25,000 quote and like hiring this out to bid. This is not something that should cost county taxpayers any money.
Money has already been allocated for this.
This shouldn't cost any money. This is a zero cost effort of just, one, we needed permission from a homeowner. We got it. It's in the packet. Done. Two, but the county, you need to look at item E on this letter. I want you to look at this letter. Everybody, it's very important that we actually read this. County mayor says, still need approval and appropriation from county commission with a defined scope of work for the project. So we don't need money, but I do, now that we have permission, the goal is if we have to do everything through 13 votes of the county commission to ask the county mayor just to use staff to remove junk on county property, it seems a little ridiculous and overkill. It's like using a cannon for a gnat. But if we need to do that for everything, we can do that. So we'll do that tonight. Commissioner Giannone.
If you have debris on other properties in the county, do you have to go to the mayor every time and get $25,000?
Nope, it's just right here because it's political.
Oh, okay.
I've said it before, but in case people haven't heard, those were two outbuildings on the Draper House property. When they demolished them back in the FEMA whole
September
debacle,
2022.
that stuff was supposed to be hauled off because it was always contracted to be hauled off.
Contractors never finished their work.
They never finished their work, and I would say the executive should have made sure they went back and finished the job.
That's why I said
But he
money was
didn't.
already appropriated one time for this. There is money
Right.
allocated for finishing
Yeah.
this
And
work.
I've got the contracts in my email, but I didn't read them yet. So I will go through that. But I think either they got paid for it or they didn't, but the money was allocated. Tim's right. And so this should be a simple thing for, a metal recycler would probably come out and take all the metal away for free. And then the rest could be burnt.
Well, I'll just answer something. The county mayor had sent a response to the law director. It's paragraph 2 of this email. Red letter. And it says the county commission typically does not delve into the oversight of trash disposal. Please advise that there's a policy resolution granting the county commission that oversight, and I will adjust accordingly. Committee will receive the inventory is completed. Individual responsible for that function will move to finance. Indicate that at the time. I guess this is talking about, the courtroom. My apologies. But we are talking about trash in this instance. I guess it's on the back of this page, Mr. Isabel said, I'll need an appropriation of funds and a clear scope of work requested by the commission. The project exceeds $25,000. I'll complete the RFP and bid process with the project manager. Additionally, I'll need the legal department to secure permission in writing for access to the property. Well, removing this debris here
not a $25,000 project. It is, I could go out there right now with my 8 foot long mowing trailer and pile this crap up, with some, some straps and take it to the resource authority by myself.
Maybe a couple trips, but.
But, you know what I'm saying, I
Yeah.
get Sanford and Son this thing.
Yeah.
But this is, yeah, I get tired of these games and this type, it's ridiculous. But I will tell you the authority the county commission has since it was asked. TCA 5-7-106 regarding construction and maintenance costs of county buildings and properties says that county buildings are to be erected and kept in order and repair at the expense of the county under the direction of the county legislative body and permits the levying of a special tax for that purpose. Well, I guess we need to direct cleanup of this silly little thing tonight to move to the full commission so we can instruct the mayor to have his maintenance guys go out there with a county-owned trailer and a county-owned truck and just pick it up, wear some gloves so we don't have to go to the health department, and go to the resource authority free of charge to dump this stuff. It's not rocket science. So
Is that your motion?
that's my motion.
Second.
So the motion is to send to the full commission instructions by resolution, county mayor directing him, according to TCA 5-7-106, to have his maintenance department use a county trailer and a county truck to pick up county trash on county property to take it to the county resource authority for disposal. And I so move.
Yeah, Marty.
All right, Tim got that second. Any questions, Mr. Law Director? All in favor, say aye.
Can I add an amendment? This is a job that should have been done 2.5 years ago. He needs to finish the project. Would that be appropriate?
I think that's going to confuse things.
Okay, okay, I withdraw.
Motion passes unanimously. We're going to send that to the full commission.
Can I ask just one silly question?
Sure.
Silly in maybe your head, not mine. It's $25,000. Where in the world did he come up with that figure? Because that seems.
County procurement policy. If something requires over $25,000, it's got to be put out.
It's just money.
It's just playing politics.
Fees.
Oh.
So does that mean if I say, I'll do it for 20,000,
Just gotta have 2 other quotes.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I'll do one for you. I'll give it to you.
If it's up to 9999.99, just pick it. No, it should be done. This is silly. Let's go pick up our trash. We shouldn't be having to go through this process.
we get the metal and scrap it, take all the wood piled up, burn it.
Yep.
You got right there in place.
That's
There we
right.
go.
It's that simple.
All right, well, we're going to move on. We voted on that, so no further discussion. Item F, we have a motion for discussion for the
Motion to discuss.
Millersville EMS station reconfiguration status. Motion by Commissioner Klein, second by Commissioner Miller. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. This, obviously, the MOU, brief recap, is now null and void and moot after the last commission meeting 2 weeks ago because the city of Millersville has agreed to take on the cost of renovating their own building themselves. Therefore, that MOU was all about us doing the work on their property. So we don't need that. It's dead. MOU is dead. We don't have an MOU. So this is not about a discussion on the MOU. This is now discussion to figure out options. We still have EMS staff in a trailer that we're renting. We don't know who is going to fix their problem. Do we keep renting or do we buy the trailer? I know Commissioner Jones has been in discussion with the manufacturer of the rental RV place.
The rental place at the mayor.
So that's kind of a short term. And second thing is we know that Millersville has stated that they intend on raising revenue somehow in order to hire more full-time firemen somehow to then be placed in their Bethel Road location full-time in the current EMS living quarters. So we've been giving, I guess, an eviction notice. It's just not immediate like it was in April. Now it's like, okay, we can move back in when they fix it, but we don't know how long that's going to be. It's going to be, I guarantee,
Probably don't know how
a
long
year,
we'd be there either.
a year or two, but
point is, a long-term solution has to be made, since we know that we're being evicted from those living quarters, and we're gonna have to build onto their building, build a separate building, or relocate, or have our EMS housed permanently in a trailer. And I know that's probably not gonna fly very well for a lot of people, so. I'm just kind of giving you guys options. Part of this, and this is still on here from old business, but it got removed, the MOU portion. But I'm just throwing that out there for discussion points of, it's up to the committee. How short or long-term do we want to think about this? So, Commissioner Janot.
I know last time we talked about looking at another piece of property over by the library.
We had Mr. Shipler did look into it, but we do own that property. But I don't know if you've looked at it. It's pretty small, right next to, you're backed in by a creek, 31 W, which is Louisville Highway right there in front, and the interstate right behind you, and then the library. So I don't know if it would be big enough for a ambulance bay station and living quarters or not. I'm not sure, but we do own that property. So to answer your question, that is an option if the county wanted to spend another $4.5 million to build an EMS station, or do we? I know that an estimate of $650,000 is exorbitant, and just wow, how did it keep for 2 veterans? So the question is, we don't own the property, but here's how this works in the county. The county doesn't own most any properties that we have ambulances, so to understand that. We don't have agreements with any cities or municipalities. It'd be foolish for a city to kick us out of their city because cities don't provide ambulance services. And county residents pay for cities that have that ambulance services. If you live in the county, you're paying for Gallatin residents. Your taxes go towards that as a county resident for them to benefit from it. So it's silly and a stupid game of chicken for cities in the county to get in a squabbling match. And it's happened a little bit in Hendersonville already over their fire station. They try to get the county to build them a $5 million plus fire station plus and a fire truck for no reason a couple years ago in the Shackle Island area, and using county funds to do it. That's never happened before. But the county has spent money in the city of Portland prior to my time on the commission. When they were building a new fire hall, they did contribute some money, I can't remember how much it was, to that for storage of the EMA. Suspend the rules for Mrs. Baggert. $3 million. I thought it was $2.5 million. I'm glad. Okay, so $3 million brings back in session. $3 million the county contributed towards Portland. Wasn't just for ambulance and EMS. It's also for EMA for storage of gear as well. So it was dual purpose for 2 different county departments. That is the only case that I know of where the county has contributed $1 to a city for that type of infrastructure. The county doesn't own that land. The county doesn't own the building. The county owns nothing, but they contributed money towards the construction. This is the same thing we're looking at Millersville here. If we want to keep our EMS personnel at the Bethel Road location, we're looking at either getting permission from Millersville to build a standalone living quarters, just 2 bedrooms and probably kitchenette, whatever they need, bathrooms, shower, that has a breezeway over their building, or we connect to their building. I'm not sure which is the least cost prohibitive or not. I don't know what's the best route is, but those are things to be looking for. But I don't know when that could happen. But it's going to happen. We know in the future. So we've been talking about it. So we can table this discussion and just go with buying the trailer or renting it, or we can start moving for plans. But I would hate to see a $650,000 or $1 million plan for 2 bedrooms come forward, which I can easily see happening, when maybe this isn't more than a $30,000 plan or $50,000, $100,000. I don't know. Commissioner Jones.
So right now, all we have is information from Millersville that they appropriated $50,000 for this building to fix those codes violations.
And for our EMS personnel to come back and live in until.
Yes, until something someday more money is found to increase the footprint of that building to accommodate more fire people. I get all that, but
No, that's not correct. That's more money found for them to hire firemen to displace our EMS personnel, to put them in that location, not expand their building. They weren't talking about expanding their
We
building.
don't know what it's gonna look like, but at the end of the day, they're gonna renovate that building to serve their own purposes. Right now, they're offering to renovate the building to fix our problem so that they can keep EMS in there. We don't know what the end result's gonna look like if and when someday, probably at least 2 years away, when they generate more taxes to afford it, or make some cuts to where they can afford it. So we've got a problem to deal with for immediate, and I'm not opposed to looking at a long-term solution, but we would be paralleling whatever they're doing anyway. Are you suggesting that we consider a suggestion to them to add on to their building or build a standalone something on that property or close by while simultaneously they're already budgeting for fixing the 2 rooms? I just want to understand what we're looking at possibly voting on or discussing.
I'm not suggesting that because from pages 15 to 74, that's already been planned for. I'm just dealing with the reality that exists already, not something that I'm suggesting. I'm dealing with what is past and then it's still present. Because pages 15 to 74 deal with adding on to that building. And it's been dealing with it since last April. These in here, April to now.
I
know. So that's, now, the question is, do we continue with that long term of looking to building that out in the next year or two? Or do we table that discussion right now until we know how they retrofit them? There's two ways of looking at it. It's a short term and long term. So we can table the long term and just stop talking about this for now. And short term is we buy a trailer or continue to rent because we don't know when they're going to have those 2 living quarters remodeled and reconstructed so that EMS can come back in there, back to code. That could be 6 months from now. At that point, we should have bought the trailer. And if we're going to build something, it's going to take 6 months to a year. We probably should have bought the trailer. So at a minimum, short term, we probably should buy the trailer, or unless we want to keep renting it. Either way, but I don't, we can't, this has been such, when you have one of the city commissioners before he became a commissioner said, hey, go with the MOU, previous city commission in September 2024. Let's go ahead and get the EMS people back there as fast as possible. The county's willing to do this for free. Then he changes his tune and says the exact opposite 3 months later. I don't know what they're going to do because they say one thing one day and they say one thing the other day. So all I know is that we've been told that they agree they're going to fix it on their own dime so our EMS personnel can get in there. But they're going to move their firemen full-time in there sometime in the near future, and we're going to have another plan.
We don't know if it's the near future or not. And
they say it is, but I don't know what that means.
Anything we do is going to parallel, more than likely, any action that they take. And I just don't know how it's going to go over. And then to add to that, we're going to be contributing to a city's fire station, a city-owned fire station that we don't own. We're going to be contributing a significant amount of money that we've never done before.
No, that's not true.
Well, we did in Portland, but it's coming more dangerously close to setting even more precedent. It'll be the second case that would give the city money to build out stuff like that.
Like West Point, we set the precedent of building a $4.5 million EMS station. Budget, my understanding, $4.5 million to build a brand new EMS station a couple miles up the road to White House on the same road.
The problem we have is that we have departments outside of this committee that are making their own deals and making their own plans. And that's always going to be lingering in the background. And we don't know if that's working. We know it's working against this committee, but we don't know if it's working with Millersville to make that happen. I'll just call it out what it is. That's where the fear is, and I don't like it. Somebody just got shot. So I just, how do you make decisions like that? The cost of buying the camper that's out there right now is about $47,000 to buy a used camper because we opted for the most expensive route that's got 2 full bedrooms and 2 full bathrooms instead of getting one with a shared bathroom like they all shared when they were all lived in the same building. To get a standard camper that would have worked, we could have got for $36,000. We've spent over $36,000 now in rental fees.
Probably close to 38 now.
So this has not been looked at with a fiscally conservative eyeball and managed from the get-go. And that was not
We
a decision made by this committee.
$5,000.
Right, because it was supposed to be a quick look at something, how do we fix it? But it's been drug out now to where it's cost the taxpayer so much money, it's going to become a sky is falling situation again. We got to do something. We got to do it now. Like everything, it's not happening as fast as typical, but it's being drugged through to where that ends up being the result. I don't know what the appropriate action is, but anything we do will be paralleling what's already been decided in Millersville right now. I think we need to work with them on timelines and what they have planned and how long they plan on us using it. Because if everything's on their dime right now, they're funding everything. Why not take advantage of that as long as we can rather than spending our own money while they're doing that anyway? I just don't know. It doesn't make sense.
I think we're working off the unknown here. I think this really boils down to what do we do with the trailer? Does it not? We either get a trailer or we keep renting it because everything else is an unknown.
Right. Well,
So if we could second guess this all day long, we can learn from the past, but there's nothing in the future
I agree.
to tell us where to go.
But I think what the chairman's talking about is more long-term plans. Do we need to consider them? And that's where I think we're at too.
I think they're separate discussions, though. I think what the meat of the topic today, and again, I'm not an elected official, so I'm just trying to shortcut this a little bit, but it seems to me the trailer is the priority to deal with at the moment. And then whatever you want a long term, y'all can long term that however you want to.
The trailer, I just have 2 questions about the trailer. Who manages the sewer on that? And who manages the water hookup?
Is there a water and sewer hookup to that?
It's probably just a hose, or I mean,
Are they even using the bathroom in that train? Or they go inside?
I don't know that.
The reason I ask is because there are pump outs on those trailers. And my question is, who's doing the pump outs? If we buy it, then we have to figure out how we're going to hook it to sewer, like all that. So that's an extra cost. You got to remember that with your trailers or campers. That's a couple questions I had in my head.
Mr. Shamrock, have you had any invoices for sewer disposal or anything?
I'd have to go back and look.
If not, then the answer is they're not using the bathrooms in that camper.
If that's the case, we can go with the cheaper cost trailers.
And that would make sense.
We could do that anyway.
Because they don't have to be sleeping in the 2 sleeping quarters to use those bathrooms. So, they sleep in a trailer and they take a shower and whatever
In the building.
in the building.
What are you doing if there's no sewer hookup? That's a fact.
So
There's no disposal, so.
I mean, if I woke up in the middle of the night and had to pee, I definitely don't want to go out in the middle of the yard and go into another building to pee. Because especially in the winter, I mean, seriously, people.
That's a great question. I don't know what they've been doing, but evidently I'm just saying, if we don't have any kind of sewer disposal costs, and if the rental company doesn't cover that, it's not hard to deduct, they're not using the bathroom.
Some of them do pump outs.
I don't know. So that's a good question, I guess, to find out. But the question is, does the committee want to keep renting? Because we don't know how long this is going to take. It might take them 3 months, 6 months, 8 months to fix that facility. By then we could have bought another trailer. I'll leave it up to, I mean, it's maddening. It's maddening that we're here, but we're here, so let's deal with the reality we have. Not the one we want.
I think we need about sewer and water are important before you even, because if you're renting it and they're taking care of all that, then you gotta look at the cost of hooking up sewer and water.
Yeah.
And so that could be very expensive.
That was discussed in a previous meeting in this
Yes, sir.
room about permanent sewer and water hookup for
Yes,
the church.
absolutely. So if you do get your own, you may be required to do that, so.
I think we should stop the bleeding, so I'm gonna make a motion that we buy a trailer, not necessarily that one, because I don't think we need 2 separate bathrooms, and that's what makes that one so expensive. So we need to do the due diligence of finding what trailer will satisfy the need, and we need to purchase it. That's my motion.
Do you have a limit? Cost limit?
You have a,
If I could read to you what the salesman for Nashville RV
okay,
said. So he said, I've run through some purchase options for you guys on the potential RV trailers. Purchasing the 39 HVA that you currently are renting would be the best option. There's no additional transport involved. There's no dealer fee, but most of all, it's the only available floor plan that truly gives 2 beds and 2 baths. The cost would be right at $47,000. The more economical options only happen if you compromise the second bed or the second bath. So you can get a 2-bedroom single bath for, like I said, $36,000. Then I asked him, I said, well, I'll forward this to the committee, thanks. So is there an option to buy this current rental unit? Can it be bought as a brand new unit, same model, or is this the price of the now used one that we have? He said that price would be the purchase of the current unit. A new 39 HBA would be in the neighborhood of $63,000, and the factory is not building one currently. A new one, frankly, doesn't bring a lot of value into the equation for you guys. I don't know why we opted with the most expensive camper option out there when all we needed was 2 places to lay their head.
I think we know why.
I'm not going to speculate. It's ridiculous. I don't think it's fiscally conservative, but nonetheless, that's where we're at. So $47,000 to buy the one that's sitting on the lot, or buy a brand new one for like 36 plus taxes is 40 something.
and does that,
And
does
it's
that
a
move it
2-bedroom, 1 bathroom.
does that move it onto the site?
Sorry,
Does that move it onto the property as well?
you didn't say that part. I don't know how much delivery costs for something like, it's a camper. It's not a trailer. It's a camper. So it's literally probably a 5th wheel or something like that they just drag out there and park. So it's not a lot of setup. I can't see it costing more than a few $100s to drag it out there and drop it.
We got
But
enough 350s in this county that can go out there and pick it up.
My motion is to not exceed 38,000.
well, you got taxes, it's gonna be 40. I mean, so
If you're not gonna get out anything less than $50,000 without appropriation.
47 keeps us in what we have. No movement, just leave it there.
You don't have a second yet for your motion, so.
Pardon?
You don't have a second for your motion.
No, I don't.
He hadn't really formed the motion yet, so.
Yeah.
But you gotta still figure out about the hookup. I mean,
Here's my recommendation,
The permanent hookup,
if you're amenable to this, your motion to get a second. This comes back next month. Investigation on water and sewer hookup, how much does that cost on site?
and who's doing it now? If they're doing
And who is doing water and sewer now for that 2-bedroom, 2-bath trailer? I think once we know the answer to that, then we can make a decision on whether we want to rent or buy, continue renting or buying.
So if we do nothing, can we just leave it on the thing for next month?
Just leave it on
I'd
the
be okay
business.
with that too.
Okay, I'll withdraw any motion on this one.
Well, I would still continue your motion.
Okay,
Would you like me to read? Yeah, I'll make it.
okay.
So I'll make a motion that keep this on whole business, but if Mr. Shamrock, if you can investigate what would be required to put water and sewer on location as a permanent hookup for that trailer that we have. And 2, is the rental company currently coming and doing sewer disposal on that trailer? Or is that trailer even being used? Are the bathrooms even being used in that trailer currently?
I would say who is, not are they doing it, because he can reach out to them and they say no, you still don't know. Just find out who is doing the sewer disposal if it is happening.
No, because he'd be getting an invoice. If somebody's doing it, they would know. And right now, there's no invoices except for the rental company.
He doesn't know that.
Huh?
He doesn't know
Oh, you don't
if
know
that's happening or not.
if there might be a separate invoice. You don't know if there is.
I'll have to look tomorrow.
Okay, so then there you go then. So you can find out if there is
Either
something
way.
unknown, or if the rental company's doing it. Mr. Klein.
Can we find out if we actually need 2 bathrooms? I sense we don't.
Well, that part may answer itself. If he finds out that there is no sewer hookup, then we know we don't
need
need
anything.
2 bathrooms. Yeah, we don't need any bathrooms.
Well, you might if they start working on the building and you can't go use their bathroom.
Their bathrooms aren't in those bedrooms. Their bathrooms, and their break rooms, and laundry rooms, and food rooms, they're not gonna cut off access to that. Plus, there's outside doors to get into all that.
They have a bathroom in the area that's got the living room, the kitchen and all that, and then each one of those sleeping quarters has a bathroom. So technically there are 3, at least 2.5.
All right, so my motion is to defer this until July.
Second.
Coming back with information on sewer, water hookups, what's happening now, what would it take if we bought a RV? What would it take to hook up costs to the county to do that? Got a second by Commissioner Klein. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Clear as mud, Jennifer, on that?
Building, is the ambulance outside, stays outside?
No, it's inside. And it's going to continue to stay inside. It's just that there's literally, so if this is like the front, you got 3 bays, well, they got 3 or 4 bays. There's the ambulance bay here. There's really 2 bedrooms that they turn into 2 bedrooms right behind the ambulance. They get, it's in a hallway. And like, there's a hallway here, there's a kitchen and a laundry room, and some other stuff, like a lounge room on this corridor. This is a corridor in the front of the building. So there's a entertainment room, laundry room, and then big kitchen area in the back. Then there's a hallway that goes out, and this goes out into the main bay. The ambulance is parked here, right next to this. There's 2 separate bedrooms, closed doors and everything. But they don't have a point of egress behind, like another escape. So it's been that way for 20 years. So what they're talking about they got to do is basically retrofit those 2 rooms. But the ambulance is right there in front of those bedrooms.
So they're gonna let the ambulance stay.
Correct. I mean, they're not kicking the ambulance out. They were kicking us out of the living quarters, and now they've agreed to let us come back in the living quarters. They've agreed to pay for the renovation, so we don't have to pay for it. We just don't know how long it's going to take and how long it's going to last, because they said that they're going to try to have full-time firemen in the next couple of years. To them, they think it's tomorrow, but I mean, realistically, a year or 2 years, I don't know. So,
They said a year and a half, 2 years.
So has that been seconded?
everybody voted. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
We already voted.
I was
All right,
the same.
also.
I was the same.
Yeah.
Second one. Oh,
Ask her, she did it all.
Item G, discussion for HB 2426, SB 2261. Do I have a motion for discussion?
Motion to discuss.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner Klein, would you, I'll just lay it groundwork. This is about the law that passed last 2024 legislative session about adjusting the rates for adequate facilities taxes. Right now, currently, we're at 70 cents residential, 40 cents commercial, industrial. And this changes it up to, I think, $1.50.
$1.50 for all.
All. So it's an option. And just to give you guys, I'm not preaching to the choir here, but I did research with the previous property assessor to pull all the records between 2014 and 2019, the 2 years we experienced back-to-back property taxes, the previous commission totaling 38% approximately. And in that 5-year period, the county on average borrowed $48.5 million per year, every year for those 5 years, if you average it out, for new schools or new construction or expansion. In that same 5-year period, we only brought in $2.8 million a year on average with the adequate facilities tax, the impact fee. That goes 100% to debt service for new school construction or renovation. $48.5 million per year with 2 tax increases of borrowing, and only $2.8 million a year in revenues to pay for that borrowing. So the disparity is pretty wide, as Mo like to call it, is the inadequate facilities tax, because it's wholly inadequate for servicing school debt. Obviously, we're in talks with, we passed 2 resolutions asking the state to rescind or repeal the 2006 County Powers Relief Act, which is the act that prohibits counties from doing any impact fees. And our only recourse for the city's growth is for us to raise county property taxes to pay for the growth that the cities are causing, paying for our wallets. And the biggest thing of that has been schools. Liberty Creek is around a $220 million project so far that we know of, that I know of, I've kept track with since 2019. That includes principal and interest for bonds as well as cash infusions. I don't know what they've spent on other things. They've hidden the sewer cost of pumping sewer for 2 years from us, and like what's the daily cost there. So it's literally been flushing money down the drain. So there's that has prompted on, obviously, you know, it's not in my ideal. This is not, in my opinion, this is not ideal legislation because it doesn't solve our problem. It's just another Band-Aid on a leaking salve and wound.
Yeah.
So, Commissioner Klein, if you can.
If you look at 1999 with 70 cents got you, and you look at today with 70 cents got you, which is what we're still paying per square foot for the inadequate facilities tax, it's pretty pathetic. So even moving it up to $1.50 a square foot is probably 1/5 of where it ought to be. And so to give you an idea, what we're receiving now on a 3,000 square foot house at 70 cents a square foot is $2,100. If we adopt this, and it takes 2/3 of legislative body, yeah.
This is no. Because this is a private act.
It says
we'd have to create a new private act. Yes, it takes 16 votes.
Yeah, 16 votes, and we have to do it 2 months in a row. It would give us $4,500 as inadequate facilities tax on a 3,000 square foot house. But additionally, commercial and industrial would be paying the same instead of 40 cents a foot. They'll be going to $1.50, which is really still a drop in the bucket for them, comparatively speaking. I mean, I've told some of you that in California, when I was a builder, when a new house, 2,500 to 3,000 square feet was $300,000. The impact fees were $50,000. And today they're more like 70 to 80.
Where is this?
California, Southern California.
I did speak with Representative Garrett. He called me and emailed us. We did speak last week. He was asking for examples.
Oh, I got them.
Okay, so I will direct. We'll get together after this and direct you to him.
Yeah. You can call any city in Southern California and they give you their fee schedule. And it's library, storm drain, street, park, you name it, they've got a fee for it. But school fees are the big one. So.
He was asking, I'll interrupt, examples in Tennessee, but I was like, well, Tennessee, you can't do impact fees. Right. You don't have examples, right. But you do have, other than Williamson County, and theirs is around $20,000, $25,000 a house right now. Yeah. Because their grandfather did.
Well, if you just do the math, Liberty Creek cost us $230 million to house 3,600 kids. That's $60,000 per child. So every new house should have an impact fee. You could make that argument for schools only to be $60,000.
So Commissioner Motelo did that here on the budget committee a couple years ago. I think it's 21. There's a video of this where he did, like we were dealing with, it's probably 2020 when we were dealing with the meadows, when the city council was trying to, I'll say, spot zone and spot annex land for the meadows, which they did. Interlocal agreement with the county. It's the only way they could do it legally because it's an island. Yeah, I think it was almost 1,100 homes, and Mo Taylor's like, you know, if you had $55,000 a home impact fees, and he even said it during the meeting, it wouldn't be enough to pay for the new school construction that we need for the kids, right. The 3 schools, and so, and that's just a reality. That's the reality we deal with as a fact.
Yeah, the reality is the current taxpayers in the county are subsidizing new housing to the tune of about 95+%.
Yeah, that doesn't include, highway doesn't include sheriff and jail, courthouse, and.
New
ambulance
precincts.
service. Ambulance service, it doesn't include that.
Right, right.
I'm just talking new school, but the point, I'm just backing up the point, Mo Taylor spoke a couple years ago and said the same thing, using a $55,000 number for the Meadows.
Schools we like to build here now.
Well, and that's, yeah. And we're not talking about, monuments to men's egos here. We're talking about like a functional building that's replicated on an affordable model. But that's, here, there, another. There was a resolution passed in 2011 to be debt-free by 2023 by the previous county commission, one of them. It could have been done. And just imagine, we're servicing debt at $30+ million a year. I mean, you can build a brand new elementary school every year, year after year, with 30-something million. I mean, so put in perspective how bad debt is. Williamson County is over $2 billion in debt now. That's with a B, 2 billion. So see all that growth it's got in them? It's nothing. Davidson County, a couple months ago, their principal alone was over $8 billion in debt. Didn't include their interest, just their principal.
8 billion with a
B, that's just principal debt for Davidson County. Williamson County principal plus interest is at 2 billion with a B, 2 billion. We're down to like 300 something million. So we're continuing to do well. For now. But there's a lot you can do when you're debt free.
So I would agree with you. This is barely scratching the edge, but it's better than staying at 70 cents. Much better. And I've been through this document now 3 different times. And there were a couple of things that I thought were gotchas, but they talk about a mega industrial site. That's 1,000 acre. That's defined as 1,000 acre industrial project.
You're on page 100. He's on page 105 to 108, which is the legislation from the Senate bill. Is what Mr. Klein is talking about. So you're talking about the mega. Which page is that talking about? That on?
It's at the bottom of page 1. It says commercial means any property used for business activities except any state designated industrial mega site is designed or defined in 64-6-102. And I went to that, and it specifically says it's got to be at least 1,000 acres of continuous property. It can't be 2 separate pieces of property. It's got.
So it still would capture like industrial, like in Facebook.
Well, but Facebook's only 530 or something, so it wouldn't even catch Facebook.
We don't have nothing.
No, we don't have a tract of land that big unless somebody put them together. So the other thing is there was a amendment number 2 by Hazelwood, but I don't think it's consequential. They limited the $1.50 per square foot on commercial properties, and I'm sure that means commercial and industrial, to 150,000 square feet. But that, I believe, is also in one building only. So you're not going to have a whole lot of buildings that are more than 150,000 square feet. In Sumner County, at least not in the near future, I wouldn't think. That's a big building. I mean, if Amazon moved here and wanted to set up, I could see where there's a problem.
Can I interject real quick?
Yes, sir.
We're talking about Meta, we're talking about these industrial sites. Back on May the 9th, 2025, a couple weeks ago, Marshall Wright, our codes director, did send an email to us all. And he said, today, Sumner County received a $747,094.80 adequate facility tax check from Meta. This is the AFT payment for all previously built buildings within the Meta complex located in Gallatin. I'm of the opinion these funds would never been captured had it not been for us creating that position last year. And I remember we were on budget, we approved that, our budget committee, to approve that position for Marshall Wright Codes Department to capture this. So we increased those BBI, I think, I can remember what the initials are, points, something for this position. And he said, had we not created that position, he's convinced that wouldn't have happened because to the consistent efforts and open dialogue that the adequate facilities tax coordinator had over the last several months with Meta is the reason for the back payment from Meta. So had we not approved that in our budget cycle that we were capturing from fees, to create this position, we wouldn't have captured over $750,000 from Facebook that they never paid us. So that's good news. So that is progress.
And ongoing.
So that is going towards, but that's 100% going to service school debt, just to clarify. So that's $250,000, which is great. But yeah, that would be ongoing every year, whatever that's captured as. But this is in total, I think.
That's probably a few years since I've
Correct.
been here worth. So it's still a significant amount per year.
Hopefully so. Yeah. So, but I just wanted to,
That's awesome.
the benefits of, but it was due to that BBI calculation we approved. I've got it written down, but I know that was part of that, of capturing those things.
There are some requirements. We have to have grown 10% in population from
9.
That's.
Sumner County meets all the requirements.
We meet all the requirements, yeah, so I don't need to get into the weeds there. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer any. And if there's not, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve this.
My question is, I assume, because our adequate facility tax captures residential in the city, so that's the benefit to it. It captures everybody. So, one thing, if the county does do this, you're locked in for 4 years. You can't get out of it.
Right.
That is on page 107, talks about that. Was that amendment you're talking about, Dave, on bottom of page 107, where it says it's amended by the leading subsection B and substituting tax will be paid upon completion of the building or structure. It removed residential up above it a little bit, section 7.
Yeah, they got rid of that term, it's all development. That was,
Yeah, it says the language residential development from subdivision is substituting just development, period.
that's how you include the commercial and the industrial at the same rate as residential. You just say all development. And I went through every one of these TCA section 67s, and I can't find fault with it. And I'll continue to go through it, but I would encourage everybody else to. I just don't see that there's a catch anywhere.
Who's responsible to, like it says on the very top of page 107 under D, to continue to levy this tax, the county must verify qualification with the comptroller every 4 years. Who's responsible to make sure that happens? The comptroller reach out to us, or does somebody in what department has to check in with them, or
I would imagine it's our finance department.
we have to put it on them to do it?
It's based on federal census data.
Well, or it says using federal census data estimates if basing qualifications on a 9% growth rate under subdivision A2, or at the end of the final year of every 10-year census period if basing qualifications on federal census data under subdivision. So there's different ways to qualify.
Well, you just
Who's
said
responsible
at the end of every final year of every 10-year census period. That's the or part. That's probably what we're doing now. I'm just making assumptions.
Or every 4 years.
I don't know.
We're putting that responsibility on somebody. They need to know it. I'm just saying, I'm okay with it, but just that somebody in our.
We don't know that it's not already happening.
Well, the worst thing that could happen
We
is
have
if
to
we don't
qualify.
qualify, we
It's
go
not
back to our private act of 70 cents. We're better off stepping forward.
Yeah, I'm for it. I'm for it. I'm just saying if we do this, we need to notify somebody that they've got a responsibility to check in every 4 years or every 5 years or the end of every 10 years, or they need to figure that out. And I'm okay with that, but I don't like adopting something and then not tell somebody that's responsible to do that they needed to do it. So we need to have David Long look over it. I mean, I'm okay with passing it and then giving it to David Long and say, hey, by the way, brush up on this because we're passing this.
Right.
I'm okay with it. I'll second your motion.
All right.
Did you already have a second?
I didn't make the motion yet.
Oh, go ahead.
Are you wanting to make a motion now, or are we just still discussing it?
I will make a motion now if there's still questions.
I think right now, the $1.50 applies to commercial, industrial, residential,
So
everything.
it's almost.
It
4 times.
eliminates the 40-70 split.
Right. Yeah. And my experience with industrial and commercial development, they just roll with the punches. There's more money in industrial and commercial than there is in residential. The residential are gonna pucker, but I don't believe the commercial and industrial people will. They'll just take it in stride and keep moving. So because we need more businesses in Sumner County to put our people to work, I don't see this as being a detriment in any way, shape, or form to the economics of the county.
So residential was 70 and it's going to 150.
And
Commercial was what?
40. It was 40,
And
and it's going to $1.50.
That's
This state law
That's-
allows.
new construction.
New construction. Yeah, this is all new construction.
This is a one-time fee. I mean,
Yeah, it's a one-time fee.
It's not a repeatable fee to answer your question.
No.
Sales tax. No, we don't connect it right.
I know that.
It's property taxes, but they don't pay property taxes.
No, I understand.
I just want to state this from what I do. I mean, that going from 70 to $1.50, that's going to be passed on to whoever buys the home. I mean, that's obvious. It's going to make, new construction, it's going to change the game because it's going to make new construction more expensive because that's the problem right now. There's so much inventory in new construction, like, the housing market's having struggles with, site-built homes that are already there, and people are choosing the new construction. So I think that's going to be a little bit of a game changer too, with the new construction, because it's going to. I mean, they got to pass that on because it's new construction, and they're going to pass it on to the buyer of the home. So just keep that in mind.
I will say that Commissioner Klein, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you were heavily engaged in development in your neighborhood, the quiet county, non-incorporated, dead-end road with 5-acre lot minimums, somebody want to come and build high-density residential in there. One of the things that the builder said why he came here and not Williamson County is because Williamson County is too expensive because they have educational impact fees.
Right.
And so it's a little bit of a deterrent in a good way because we have a problem exacerbated. Because the question that I've always heard citizens ask for the past 7 years is, why should I have to pay for somebody else's new growth? Because when you force me to pay for growth in Westmoreland or White House or Hendersonville, I live in Gillisville, or Gallatin, it's socializing the costs. You're confiscating my tax dollars against my will to build houses to decrease the quality of life, in my opinion, and increase my property taxes against my will to increase the volume of people that live here, which just creates more congestion, crime, traffic, and problems. And it's changing things in a negative sense. A lot of good. We have a lot of great people moving here, but with growth comes problems, and it's pain, some of it. But the problem is growth that I have to pay my tax dollars towards against my will, and that's how I explained to Representative Garrett. That's a problem the state's going to have to fix because the entire model of growth in the county is social. It's state because growth doesn't pay for itself, and people are able to write a check to a politician, get something passed, make a big profit. Politician profits however through campaign donations or trips or whatever, and then it's us, the little guys, have to pay and fund all that on a continual basis, and it's not right. And citizens are sick of it. They show up at Gallatin all the time saying stop, 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 and Gallatin won't stop, even though the majority of citizens are like stop. It's just they're beating their heads against the walls. But I understand. I mean, it's going to be passed. Somebody's going to pay for it, sure. But the people moving here from out of state, I hear people say that everybody moves from out of state because we do have low property taxes, and I hope we keep them that way. It's like, gosh, I'd rather pay. I don't mind paying more money for a house because I'm saving money on property taxes. Those people are paying $8,000 to $16,000 to $20,000 a year in property taxes in a lot of these states. They're moving from, they're fleeing from, and these are states that have income tax as well on top of high property taxes. So
it's only, we shouldn't be punished because we're taking everybody's refugees. We're paying for it. If you're going to come here, you pay for your own growth and you benefit from your own growth. That's a capitalistic model, in my opinion. But I understand what you're saying. People are going to.
And I'm for this. I'm for it. I'm just saying, it's gonna change things somewhat.
It is. Well, it's, people say but it's my opinion, it's not the government's responsibility to provide housing.
I agree.
That's not our job, because we have to deal with the fallout of the people and we have to provide the services to people. But where do we get the money? From the people. So new people come, new people should pay. You want to build. If Gallatin wants to annex more, or Westmoreland wants to annex, Westmoreland annexed like almost 1,000 acres of land, or almost 1,200 acres of land in the past year. So that's 1,200 to 1,400 acres of land, of county land, Westmoreland's confiscating, or that we can't stop. That's another bill that we try to get the state to pass. And in that, I've talked to administrators of schools there. They're like, yeah, we're going to have to build new high schools, new middle schools, and elementary schools because of all this. Well, where's that money going to come from? It's going to come from you, Tim, and you, Deborah, and you, Mary, and Terry, and Chrissy, and David, and me. But if we pass something like this, when they build those things, those houses, those people are going to pay for their own. It's not going to be much. It's going to go from $2,500 or $1,800 a house to $3,500 or $4,500 a house. It's still not. It won't make a dent, but it's a little bit more going towards that debt.
The existing population will still be subsidizing to great part the new growth that's
90% of it. It's unless we can charge impact fees like Williamson County, that's the game changer. Until state law changes. That's the only thing that really is a true, you pay for what you get. If you want a $250 million monolith Liberty Creek College campus, then you're going to pay the impact fee to build that in your neighborhood. That's only fair. So,
Commissioner Jones, call the question.
any other discussion before we call the question?
I just want to say in this.
Was a motion ever put out?
We haven't made a motion yet.
Second.
I haven't made a motion.
Hurry up.
We have a motion, call the question.
I make a motion that we go ahead and send up to the commission this Senate Bill number 2261 and House Bill number 2426, which increases the adequate facility tax to $1.50 straight across the board on all new development.
Mr. Moderator, does that need to go to budget first, or does that need to go legislative, or the full commission?
That's a great question.
Not as a man on budget, it shouldn't have to go to budget.
Shouldn't have to go to budget.
It adds to.
It's a 2/3 majority private act, so it should just.
It had commission twice, right?
Yeah.
So I'll steer it to the next appropriate committee. How about that be the motion? Or the next appropriate?
I'll second it.
All right, any other discussion? All fair side?
Well,
That's.
Mr. Chairman, before you move on, I had some information come in about something that we already passed by. Somebody texted me, and I don't know when it's appropriate to let the community know, but I want to let you guys know what was said about a discussion we had previously about the RV. Would now be an okay time to share it. Millersville City Commissioner confirmed with the fire chief, Brad Williams, I'm assuming, that they do not have water and sewer hooked up, never had. So using facilities inside. So we bought the most expensive trailer.
We rented the most expensive trailer for no reason.
To look pretty, that's why.
So the discussion
looks
about
pretty.
hooking up the permanent water and sewer was never a threat if it was never a problem.
We can make a motion to reconsider if you guys want to bring that back up to the table.
I don't know if it's something that will help change a decision that we do, but I wanted it known that we can.
We still need to know what the sewer hookup would be, so we'll just keep it on their whole business for next month.
But now we know we have the possibility of getting the lesser expensive.
And we also know there's been nobody coming out and doing sewer or anything. So it's been a straight middle fee, which explains
Fire
why you.
chief.
Do what?
confirmed by Fire Chief Brad Miller from the Noticeable City Commissioner.
Kicking it another month, and it's gonna cost us $2,750 more. It's not the end of the world, but I don't want to be.
Well, it's on our business, and we have to make a motion to reconsider, if you guys want to talk about it again.
The only other thing we
But
do.
we don't know.
Appropriate money towards purchasing.
So I say we keep it on business.
You can't get it to budget this month anyway.
There we go, so,
Because of notification rules.
no,
No, with the budget.
Oh,
we just need to wait until after June 30th.
okay.
So, all right,
Just wanted you to know.
Well, that's good news.
I see you texted Mr. Jordan.
Yeah. Yeah, well, everybody's asking questions, so I just asked.
All right, so we have an answer to that. Item A, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Do you have a second? Second by Commissioner Janone. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item B, do we have a motion for discussion?
Motion to discuss.
Motion by Commissioner Klein, second by Commissioner Miller. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Commissioner Klein, you wanted to hook up your computer for?
Yeah. Well. I'm connected, but I haven't turned it on yet.
Should be HDMI3.
Oh, sorry, I thought they had already. Or did you have to pull it down, Jennifer?
Well, it should be on the, oh, she's gonna plug it in.
Are these home movies or something?
Exactly.
Now it's whatever she plugs in. What number is it?
It asked me to mirror and I said yes.
HDMI4. Keep going to the right. Two more. No, keep going to the right. HDMI4. Right there.
Yes, yes. Huh? No.
No, but you're just.
David, you make a step for you.
Links to your desktop.
Display settings?
Yeah, display settings. You don't need me. Now go to mirror.
Drop mine.
Mac is a little bit different.
Government people that take to run the computer.
That was it. That was it. Where you just work. Mirror. Yep. It may take a second.
You want to sit down? I got a mouse. I brought my mouse.
Yeah, this reverse mouse crazy thing going on. All right. Yeah, I don't know why yours is not working. Might not have to do it, David. I don't know. I can't help you here.
Is there another version of mirror? There's a link connected to TV. Is there an option up there to choose that? Plug in and replay, maybe to refresh it.
David, can't help you here, man. Sorry.
Talk us through it.
Talk us through it. Here.
Thank you very much. Okay. Over in the archive warehouse, it's become a dumping ground for a lot of different departments. Pull that print off that I made that I didn't think I was gonna need, but I maybe just find it. It's in this file here. Okay, there are about 10 different departments that are taking up space in that archive building. Our archive warehouse is 6,440 square feet total. The department that's taking up the most space is the court system. They've got about 230 filing cabinets in what I call the hallway area. And they're basically inundating 2,133 square feet of that 6,440. So about a third of the warehouse they're taking. And then there's a mayor's bullpen of 316. Election commission has 660 feet. The Sumner County Commission has 594. The tax assessor has 705. IT is 216. Finance is 216. Sheriff's Department is 264. Building and planning is 272. And the maintenance department is taking about 1,000. So all that, sorry. So if you can see, this is the archive building, here's the front, this is the back. So these are all bullpens that were framed in probably by Terry Moss. Oh, you didn't do any of that work, didn't you? Okay, so we've got the mayor's area here. This is where there's 2 trailers, and I've got all those pictures I was going to show you, but obviously we can't make that work. So it's time for some of these departments to take care of their stuff. Now, planning and engineering, they're what we voted to have them get rid of. A lot of it is in there, so they're doing the job. But like the courts have an entire floor at the new courthouse. The sheriffs were given all of that space in the jail. We've got areas in the basement of this building that are completely vacant since the election commission went over to the TRC building. And it's my opinion that we need to have people take care of their stuff, especially since a lot of this stuff I took our attorney over, and he had never gone through any of that stuff because he's so new, he wouldn't have seen it. So I believe, since we are the overseers of this space as well as every other building, we need to get letters out to the courts to take their filing cabinets and put them on the 4th floor, to have the sheriff pick up his stuff, take it over to the jail, and I've got an entire list of all this stuff, but I don't have exactly what there is there. Some of this stuff won't be able to move until we resolve the elections commission issues, but it's not too soon to start having the responsible parties take their files when they have room and taking them to that place. Go ahead.
Is it something where you put out letters stating for them to come get it? They have so many days to do it, or it's going to be put on the county site for other departments to look at?
You
Or
can't
go to
really
Gov
do
Deals
that.
stuff,
You
go
can't
after
really
that.
do that with all those filing cabinets because it's got stuff that should be
I'm talking about the junk, not the files of important information. Surely they will want to come get those.
Yeah, for instance, IT has telephones and computers. I have one picture of a pallet that's about this high, and it looks like they're military-grade laptops or something.
That's just old mobile laptops that are probably heavy duty, so they get banged around and stuff.
Yeah, and they probably don't work.
Yeah, they're probably outdated.
And so we just need to do our job and say, this is not your junkyard.
So like everything aside from documents is gonna go.
Well, even the documents should go, but we
No,
put it on.
I'm saying that'll be the.
Yeah, like,
Not, it's not a threat, it's something that we're planning on doing. If they don't come get it, it's like they're themselves saying that it's not important, they don't really care.
right.
So we're telling them what we're gonna do with it unless they come get it. Now, the documents and file cabinets, we'll have to come up with a different plan, but hopefully when they're there getting the rest of the stuff, they can get that too.
Yeah. I mean, the court's got a big job because 230 fully filled four drawer filing cabinets. Commissioner Moss knows what that's all about. He moved a bunch of those over there already for the clerk and masters. Yeah. Well,
So
but
what, are you wanting to send a letter to department heads and ask, well, I'll just say, I'm gonna read this and make this very clear. We don't need permission. Here's a state statute to say this. TCA 5-5-121 says, county legislative body, that's the county commission, has the power to erect or control and dispose of county buildings. TCA 5-7-103, county legislative body of every county may hold suitable sites for offices as may be deemed expedient by the legislative body. That would include junk, in my opinion. TCA 5-7106, regarding construction and maintenance costs, we read this earlier, county buildings are to be erected and kept in order and repair of the expense of the county under the direction of the county legislative body. So it is under the purview of the legislative body to one designate space for all county officials, county departments, as I see, and their property. It's not the county mayor has authority, or even the county officials themselves. And there's case law about that with the sheriff's department. The states ruled against the sheriff's department to be able to do that. So if we want to send a directive, we can. It's just, how do you do that? It's going to be painful. It's kind of like when a kid tells their mom, a mom tells a kid to clean up their room and they pitch a fit because they don't want to do it. Because it's a lot easier to have a mess than it is to clean it up. It's like the same reason we don't go through our closets. We have tons of junk in our own houses because we don't want to deal with our mess. It's painful. It takes a long time. It's laborious and time sensitive. So how would we approach this? We want to send out letters to notify them that we want to give them time to move their stuff and relocate it. We know the sheriff has plenty of space now. We know that the election commission, till we can't do anything with them, but we know everybody else. We can put stuff down here. The county commission's junk come down here. The county mayor stuff can come down to these rooms. It's been vacated. There's a lot of options for moving all that stuff down here at the bottom of this building. Do you think we could get all of that, minus the court stuff, down here in the basement?
Well, the problem is the court stuff, you can't move in there because their filing cabinets are to a great degree blocking any ability to take it out of the bullpens. These 230 filing cabinets are blocking the ability to move stuff out.
So we need to instruct
the courts first
to move their stuff into their building.
That will make a huge difference. Like I say, that's a third of that warehouse.
Does anybody work there at the archives?
Yeah, there's two
women.
Are there any exit lights
Oh, she's the archive.
on the,
We have somebody from the archives here if you guys want to suspend the rules.
exit signs on that thing? That could be a fire code.
This is a separate piece of the building.
We can motion to suspend the rules.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Would you like to come and discuss?
Enlighten us.
Okay, so all of the filing cabinets, they are along the edges of all the walls, in front of some of the bullpens, but not the doorways. There is still a clear exit to the fire exits for all of them. But it's a lot of filing cabinets. And they've been there, let me put it this way, I've been there almost 8 years. They've been there predating me.
So anything that can fit out the doorway that's not blocked can fit in between the file cabinets?
It can, but the maintenance guys will have to move the trailers out for anyone to unload anything, which they do if people need it. But also, there are a couple other departments that have stuff over there. Chancery Court has an entire cage.
You know, we're talking about courts, we're talking about all of them.
Yeah, they have an entire cage, but EMS also has one.
Yes.
It's a big one.
You got a big building too. Yeah, that's an event. Yeah. Thank you. I'll bring us back in session.
So I'm not sure how, I don't want to step on any toes, but, and I'd be happy to go over and talk to Mark Smith or whoever I got to say, hey, we need you to get stuff out. Can you do that? And if I get pushback, then we can send them a letter.
I think you could also say, since you have this place to put it, can you go ahead and do that?
Yeah.
We need to clear this place out.
Would you like to reach out to each of these department heads that have bullpens and just give them a heads up?
I will.
Before-
Terry, where did this, all the stuff for clerk and master, where did that come from?
I've been here 8 years.
No, I mean, but when you were moving it onto the fourth floor, where were you bringing it from? The old courthouse. Okay.
My understanding is a lot of the court-related stuff that ended up there was because of some water damage that occurred. I don't know if it was flooding, but it was a temporary move because of the damage that was occurring to the documents, and there's certain retention requirements for all of these court documents. So they ended up there. Again, this is just how it was explained to me. I've got,
Well, and when was the last time they went through those filing cabinets, and can some of that stuff be purged?
They'll decide that once they're under the pressure of
Of moving
needing
it?
to move it. They'll decide, hey, do we really want to move this? And
I mean, the Sumner County Commission has almost 600 square feet that we've got boxes and filing cabinets. And so I don't know how long we have to keep that stuff. I mean, if it's old and stuff, maybe we want the archives
Do
people.
we need a motion, or is Commissioner Klein just gonna reach out?
You can reach out or we can make a motion. I'll make a motion that Commissioner Klein reaches out to each department.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
do we need to leave it
Motion
on
to
the agenda
adjourn.
for next week?
Motion to adjourn.
This will say old business.
Already second, third it.
Or we have a motion to adjourn, we have a second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? All right.
My favorite.